Part of the reason that Bluey is such a successful show today is because of how it caters towards all ages, including adults, which means that Bluey often features adult jokes and references that kids might not understand or even notice. So for this video, I'll be going over a whole bunch of adult jokes and references in Bluey. And before we start, please like and subscribe as it'll help me out a ton. Thanks! First, we'll head over to the episode of the show which features a famous sequence that kids most likely won't understand, and that's the allusion to Chilli's miscarriage. This sequence happens during a play that Bingo and Bluey are performing, where Bingo is representing Chilli and she uses a blue balloon to pretend to be pregnant with Bluey, but the balloon pops, almost ruining the moment, and we quickly flip back to Chilli, who is semi-visibly shocked at the balloon pop, as it reminds her of her past miscarriage before having Bluey, which Bandit senses and comforts her by putting his hand on her. This is well known in the entire Bluey fandom, but children who watch the show may not notice nor understand what this means. This was also just a theory for a very long time before being confirmed in a book titled Hard to Bear by Isabel Oderberg. Similarly, this same event is alluded in Bingo's dream in the episode Sleepytime, where the sun is supposed to represent Chilli and the three planets Mercury, Venus, and Earth represent Chilli's children. And Mercury is left unhatched since her first child was a miscarriage, while Venus was what Bluey hatched from, and the Earth is what Bingo was hatched from. This is lesser known in the fandom, but it once again ties into the fact that kids most likely won't understand or notice this very subtle reference. But some of the references that only adults might understand don't have to be about a tragic event. It could be generic media as well. Take the episode Yoga Ball for example. The game that the kids play in the hallway with Bandit and the Yoga Ball is what they call Raiders.
Oh, you mean Raiders?
Yeah, Raiders!
Which is a reference to the Indiana Jones movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. While this is a pop culture reference, it's one that many kids today may not pick up on. Another subtle pop culture reference could be heard in the episode Feather Wand, where Bingo charges toward Bandit with the Feather Wand, and Bandit states, "You shall not pass."
You shall not pass!
Which is a quote from Gandalf the White from the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Shall not pass!
But let's go to the episode Perfect, where we get an interesting conversation with Bandit and Fido that was way too much of an adult joke for Disney, as they actually had to censor it in the past. This conversation is regarding a potential vasectomy, as Bandit is unsure whether or not he wants to have more kids, since he already has two that run around all over the place, but that Chilli wants to keep her options open.
Look, I'm keen to get it done, but Chilli, she wants to keep her options open, but I don't know. Do we want any more of these things running around? Hey!
A vasectomy isn't directly referenced, but based on the dialogue alone, it's obvious that this is a conversation about vasectomy, which children for sure wouldn't understand or pick up on. The censored version has Bandit talking about getting his dog teeth removed instead.
Yeah, I know, I probably should get it done. But I love my dog teeth. I don't know. What if one day I just want to bite someone? Hey!
A lot more tamer than the vasectomy conversation. But we also get references and jokes related to alcohol in the show. Let's start out with the episode Whale Watching, where the parents are very tired on the couch and floor in the living room after an exciting party at Muffin's house. However, are they actually tired? They're really just hung over after drinking instead, as Bluey got information that Chilli was dancing on a table at the party.
Because you went to the New Year's party at Muffin's. She saw you dancing on her barbecue table. What?
Insinuating that she was for sure tipsy, and explains why the two are so unenergetic in the episode. The episode Stumpfest also makes an alcohol joke. With the lemonade, the kids give the Bandit Pat and Stripe. Chilli and Trixie are upstairs watching the men take out a stump, with them drinking quote-unquote lemonade, which is really just alcohol, and they get increasingly more tipsy as the show goes on. So near the end, when the men are tired, the kids give the dads the same lemonade that Trixie and Chilli are drinking. And while they are expecting some refreshing lemonade after doing some hard work, they are greeted with the taste of alcohol instead, which is kind of why they jump up and look uncomfortable. This admittedly even took me a minute to notice, so I doubt children would notice what's happening at this moment. If we go back to the show, there's another smaller moment that includes a reference to the drunkenness, with Chilli stating that she doesn't remember the Queen being at the party that Chilli and Bandit met at, to which Bandit remarks that she wouldn't.
I don't remember the Queen being there.
You wouldn't.
Implying that at the party, she was blackout drunk and couldn't remember much about the party. It really does seem that Chilli is a huge alcoholic, doesn't it? Some of these are kind of bigger moments in the show, so let's start focusing on some of the more subtle stuff. The episode The Claw features a silly adult joke, with Bandit being a claw machine and stating that the Magic Claw has no children, and thus his days are free and easy.
Magic Claw has no children. His days are free and easy.
Which is joking with the fact that taking care of kids is difficult and leaves him with no free time during the day. The episode Hospital has an adult joke as well, with Bandit wanting to play a game that involves sitting on a couch instead.
Is there some game where I just lie really still on a comfy bed or something?
Which is something a lot of parents prefer to do since they can relax while entertaining their children. Bob Bilby has two adult jokes that occur around the same time. The first one is where Bandit is rummaging through his old items, which he states is the stuff from back when he used to be cool.
This is all my stuff from when I used to be pretty cool.
which is a funny joke referencing how people become more uncool with younger generations as they get older. But the second joke isn't as subtle or lighthearted, which is when the garage goes up and we see a sort of cinematic shot of Chilli, which gets Bandit, let's say, very happy, as the flash of his camera and the subsequent expulsion of the Polaroid print is supposed to mention that Bandit is quote unquote very happy, if you know what I mean. The episode Fairy Tale is pretty much an episode that features odes to the parents watching the show with their children pretty much in the entire episode. This is because a majority of the episode is set in the 80s, thus having many 80s references that kids obviously won't get, such as Chilli's costume of She-Ra, a superheroine from the 80s, and the fact that trampolines had no nets and it was cool to ride bikes with the seats high, among other references of course. Seesaw is an episode that has a pop culture reference for the older audience, which is the conversation that Chilli has with Pom Pom's mom.
Hope they bring him back for season 4. Yeah, they do. Haven't you seen the trailer? No. What's wrong with
Describing a trailer for the TV show Stranger Things, which a lot of younger children most likely won't understand. And honestly, a lot of people probably missed this, since it's so quiet and kind of drowned out with the kids singing as they play on the seesaw. Baby Races in a way is also meant for the adult audience, though the storyline of parental guilt is more noticeable and could be something that kids pick up on. Chilli increasingly gets more depressed as she compares Bluey to Judo in her development, with Judo progressing faster than the rest of the children, which causes Chilli to fall into a postpartum depression state, before being cheered up by Bella later on, which really helps her get through Bluey's development as a baby. And as such, this episode's plot is an ode to the parents watching who went through the same or similar experiences in their motherhood. Parents need their rest, and there are certainly episodes that express this. In the episode Fancy Restaurant, Bandit and Chilli have a conversation about how Bandit forgets how to be romance, to which Chilli states that it's not easy when you're always tired.
I may have forgotten how to be romance.
Well, I have too. It's not easy when you're tired all the time.
And then Bandit adds on about always being interrupted, to which he's interrupted by kids immediately.
Yeah, and when you get interrupted every 5...
There's obviously jokes about parents always having to take care of their kids and thus never finding the time to rest or go on a romantic date with each other, and Bandit getting interrupted just tops off the joke perfectly. The episode Escape also mentions the parents need to rest, with Bandit and Chilli wanting alone time from their kids throughout the entirety of the drawing phase of the episode, and the kids somehow always find a way to break through and enter their parents' space when they really just want to get some peace and quiet and time to themselves, which is hard to get as a parent, which is why this is an adult joke in the show. The episode Fairies has a subtle pop culture reference that I honestly only just learned of while researching for this video, and this is during the scene where Bandit has to dance in the front yard, to which he screams, "Are you not entertained?"
Are you not entertained?
Which references the 2000 film Gladiator, in which that line is stated.
Are you not entertained?
Apparently even I'm too young to understand some of these. A pretty funny adult joke comes up in the episode Markets, for which Bluey states excitingly that the Tooth Fairy gave her $5, which Bandit then directs his attention to Chilli and states $5 in a serious tone. Which is funny because the Tooth Fairy is obviously not real and Chilli is the one who gives the money. Thus Bandit is upset that Chilli is giving Bluey this much money for one tooth. Another funny joke pops up in the episode The Dump, which is when Bandit is driving to the dump and Bluey asks Bandit a question because Bandit claims to know everything, to which Bluey then asks where she was before she was born, to which Bandit brushes off and moves to a different question.
Where was I before I was born?
Yeesh. Ask me another one.
For one thing, this means he doesn't know everything, but also this is a classic joke that is pulled off in many cartoon shows, as kids always seem curious as to where they came from, and while the parents know, it's obviously too inappropriate for kids to know at their young age. This same type of joke appears in the episode Daddy Put Down, though this time Bingo asks the dreaded question, and Bandit avoids it by spinning Bingo on the swing.
Dad,
Yeah?
how does the baby get in the lady's belly?
A funny little dad joke coming from Bandit is said in the episode Road Trip, to which Bluey is stating that she is bored in the car, to which Bandit replies that he knows she was born, and that he was there when it happened.
Oh, but I'm bored.
You're born? I know you're born. I was there when it happened.
Dad.
This is more of a cheesy dad joke, but it's a pretty cheesy one, so I had to include it in this video, as it's a joke that some dads would probably appreciate. A little adult joke is also found in the episode Sean, when Sean nips at Chilli's butt, and Bandit gets bummed out when Chilli directs Sean to go for walkies, which Bandit responds with well played, because obviously Sean is just Bandit's hand, and Bandit really wanted to, well, have some fun with Chilli at the moment, but Chilli just brushes it off and basically shoves Bandit away. The episode Born Yesterday features a bit of a negative stereotypical joke towards Bandit's wife Chilli, where he is pretending to be born yesterday and points to the dishwasher, then to his wife, and saying that there is just so much to learn.
Dishwasher. Wife. Wow. There's just so much to learn.
This is joking about the negative stereotypes that wives, at least back hundreds of years ago, were usually directed to take care of the kids and cook the meals and whatnot, and thus the stereotype that wives just stayed in the kitchen was born, which is what this specific statement is referencing. Even though it has negative connotations behind it, it's still a funny joke. An adult joke I found funny is in the episode Hammer Barn. Bandit wanted to get a pizza oven, which Chilli wasn't super thrilled about, and thus they go to Hammer Barn and Bandit gets his pizza oven and makes some pizza, to which Chilli actually enjoyed, stating that it was amazing. And Bandit and Pat high-five each other as Bandit was actually able to please his wife with something that she didn't initially approve of, which can be a difficult task, and I found this joke to be quite funny. The entirety of Dad Baby can also be considered an adult joke, as the entirety of the episode revolves around pregnancy. Initially, Bandit makes fun of all the complaints that he heard from his wife while she was pregnant, to which Chilli hits him with some paper and states that he has no idea what she went through. When Bandit goes through the pregnancy experience through a game with the kids, he feels the struggles of pregnancy, and when Chilli asks how's it going, he quickly changes form and acts all tough, saying he doesn't know what the fuss is all about, which is when Bingo starts ripping some kicks into his abdomen. Furthermore, there's the entire pregnancy scene in the kiddie pool, which is a known method for birth to give birth in a kiddie pool with water. All of this is a big adult joke, one that even got the episode removed off of Disney+. Bandit's whole saga with Wendy is also sort of an adult joke, with Bandit cleaning the window with his bum in the episode work, and Wendy notices this and is shocked at what she's seeing, because why in the world is Bandit mooning Wendy through the window? Something similar also happens in Copycat, where Bandit just starts smacking his bum in front of Wendy on the sidewalk, and again in the episode Dad Baby, where she sees him giving birth in the pool. Furthermore, in the episode Tina, Bandit and Chilli are carrying Tina's body into the trunk and throws her in. And Wendy is a witness to all of this, and she looks visibly shocked, because she just saw Bandit and Chilli throw a pretend body into the trunk. It's an ongoing joke in the show between the two, and it has some, let's just say, interesting moments. The Quiet Game has a good joke as well, with Chilli having to go to work because Marge was sick and she had to fill in for her. And later in the episode, while Bandit is shopping for Muffin's birthday present, he gets frustrated and exclaims,
"Oh, Madge, why can't you take better care of yourself?"
This isn't necessarily an adult joke, but could be something that parents can relate to and something that kids most likely missed, as the time frame between these two moments relative to the episode's length is a bit drastic. Another joke that kids may not understand or notice is the New Zealand joke in the episode Bingo, where Bingo is trying to build a puzzle and she is missing one piece, which is New Zealand, which Bandit responds with not again. This is because New Zealand is often left out on world maps due to it often being forgotten about, and it being displayed in the far bottom right corner of maps due to it being a bit out of the way in relation to the rest of the land in the world, and thus kids may not understand this joke, but older audiences definitely would. Spy Game has a bit of a silly adult joke in it too, with Bandit trying to teach Bluey a life lesson, with a stack of rocks being dogs a part of a pack, and when you take one dog out, the whole pack just falls. To which Bandit asks Bluey if she understands, which she says no, and Bandit just walks off and says just try to do your best.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, just do your best, kid.
Showing the difficulty of sometimes trying to explain a difficult topic to a child and not being able to do so, so you just give up. Something that parents can possibly relate to. In the same episode, the adults are consistently drinking alcohol. She really needs to lay off the drinks. Adult jokes can also be found in the minisodes, such as the minisode Muffin's Unboxing, in which Stripe tries to fix an issue with the toy Muffin is trying to review by putting batteries in it. And when it works, Stripe very obviously says the F word, though it gets cut out and censored on purpose.
Oh, thanks.
This is something young children won't pick up on, but an older audience definitely would. Furthermore, this entire episode is a joke itself, as kids channels on YouTube that feature kids doing reviews are often forced onto the children by the parent for monetary gain, which is what Stripe is exactly doing in this minisode. The sign has an adult joke that might fly over your head, and it occurs around this time Chilli arrives at the lookout, stating that this is where she and Frisky would come to think, though what she really meant was that she would go there to drink alcohol, not supporting the alcoholic allegations Chilli. But this is also a reference to The Simpsons, which has a scene in one of the episodes where Homer leaves somewhere to do some heavy thinking, while Bart states that he probably meant heavy drinking.
I've got to go somewhere and do some serious thinking.
I'm sure he meant to say serious drinking.
This isn't the only reference to The Simpsons in the show, however, as the episode Bike has one where Bentley is hanging on the monkey bars by herself and asks for help, saying, "I'd like to get down now."
Like to get down now.
The Simpsons has a very similar moment in its show, with the character being stuck in the air.
I'd like to get down now.
The episode Sleepytime also has a Simpsons reference, with Muffin saying that she is the Flamingo Queen,
I'm the flamingo queen.
which is a reference to an episode where Lisa says she's the Lizard Queen.
I am the lizard queen.
If we go back to the sign, we get more references to alcohol and even familial disputes, with Stripe arguing with Trixie in the background about something during the wedding reception, something about Stripe's drinking most likely, and Stripe crawling out of the bushes after being blackout drunk after the party ended the next day. There are also multiple instances where Bandit gets his, let's just say, family jewels smashed, such as the episode Sleepytime where Bingo is on Jupiter in her dream and she jumps on the big red spot, which in real life is Bandit's crotch area, and he is in visible pain. And Bingo also hugs a ball in the middle of Jupiter, kind of alluding to the area she just landed on in real life. The episode Born Yesterday also shows something similar, with Bandit getting hit in the same area while giving Bingo a push on the swing, and he falls to the ground in pain, even tearing up a little bit. Rug Island also has a similar moment, with Bandit getting hit with a rugby ball in the same area. The episode Slide also has a moment like this, where Bandit slides off the slip and slide and a gnome goes right into his groin area. This is a bit of a if you know you know, but this is definitely a moment added for some adult humor. We know the characters don't swear in Bluey, with curse words being replaced with food related words such as beans on toast and biscuits, but they definitely alluded to the fact that they swear in the episode Tradies, where Bluey and Bingo are spying on the Tradies and they report back to Chilli to tell her that they said the word that Bandit said when he couldn't get the mower to start.
Then Big Bell called chocolate milk that word Dad said when the mower didn't start.
Oh dear.
And they said the word that Chilli said when the dishwasher broke.
He called them the word you said when the dishwasher broke.
Oh dear.
Those are obviously supposed to be interpreted as swear words, and kids might not be able to pick up on that. A funny adult joke pops up in the episode Mom School, with Bluey stating that she gave birth to all of her balloon children, which Chilli responds hilariously with "oh my," because that's quite a bit of children for someone to conceive, which is what makes this a bit of a silly adult joke. And if we go back to Hammer Barn, there's a funny adult joke after Bingo's gnome is murdered, which is in Chilli's lecture to Bluey about not getting everything she wants, with Chilli stating that this is what happens when you're not happy with what you get, and that somebody's husband eventually gets it.
This is what happens when you aren't happy with what you've got. Someone's husband eventually gets it.
This is actually a pretty funny adult joke because, for one thing, Bluey just killed Bingo's gnome husband, and the allusion to domestic disputes within a married couple, where the married father gets in trouble with his spouse because she's not happy with what she has. The episode Relax has a bit of a joke that Disney even removed, and it happens at the very beginning of the episode where the family arrives at their hotel. Bandit refers to his children as dingleberries.
Alright, dingleberries, let the holiday begin.
Which is a word that you can search up on your own, and apparently this was too much for Disney because they removed this saying on their version. Finally, one last adult joke in Bluey is related to child endangerment, with Nana trying to get Bluey to walk by rubbing oil onto Bluey's knees so she would have a difficult time trying to crawl, which would hopefully influence Bluey to start walking. Her parents are concerned for these methods to make their baby walk, and when Nana makes a suggestion to add some grit to her knees, the parents and their baby are quickly gone. Obviously, Nana has a very extreme way of raising kids and supporting their development, as baby Bluey was slipping on the very hard floor due to the oil, which could cause injury to her, and the grit on her knees would definitely make it even more painful. These are just some of the adult jokes in Bluey. There are a lot in the show, and fitting them all in this video would be difficult, so I tried my best. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.